day, good morning. Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. See, every day can be your birthday if you choose to allow it to be so. How you doing today? Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. Why wait to start enjoying your life? Why not start today, right now? Let's go. Right, let's start off with that little breathing exercise before we get on to how we win at love. Yes, so deep breath in through your nose for 5, hold for 5, and blow out your candles for 5. Just realised I did a little, that's naughty, isn't it? Need to get better than the 5, don't I? 2, 3, 4, 5, and blow out your candles. Make a wish, and remember all your best birthdays. Fantastic. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, viewer, whoever the viewer is. I can't see who the viewer is. Louise, hello Louise, how are you doing? Hope you're having a lovely day. Quick happy birthday to the people whose actual birthdays it really is today. Matthew Jolly, Cheltenham, but I forgot to look to see what you do. Claire VJ, helping people build businesses, I think network marketing of some kind, but happy birthday to both of you. Diane Northall, not sure what you actually do, Diane, I know, but you do social media, I think possibly with your husband. Anyway, met you in Spain, of course, on the co-working retreat. That was fantastic. Happy birthday to you. And Jo Marie West, which really enough, I actually shortened by accident to Joe West, and I thought that's kind of cool. I'm sure you got loads of Go West when you were a child. Anyway, there you go. And then from yesterday, because I missed yesterday's. Did you miss me yesterday, by the way? We'll come on to that in a second. Karen Wills. I hope you're well, Karen. Sorry I missed your actual birthday yesterday, but I hope you had a lovely day anyway. And Jing Cube, interestingly enough. Now I know, pretty sure Cube is not her surname, but Jing is the lady who helped me create my my Freedom Cubes. So whenever you get a Freedom Cube from me, they're coming from the factory in China, which Jing runs. I don't know if she runs the whole factory, but she certainly is the interface for me anyway, for making my Freedom Cubes. So there you go. Happy birthday, Jing, for yesterday. Sorry about that, missed that. So anyway, happy birthday to all you people, and happy birthday to everybody else, because every day is your birthday. Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. Right, on to winning at love. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about this first, and then we're going to go on to the sort of main topic, which is the reason why I'm talking about this winning at love. We talked about this before a little bit, about winning the game of life, and how the best way to win at life is to help everybody win at life, and be part of a greater collective of future success for everybody. And love is much the same. We talked a couple of days ago about the sort of 3 stages of love, and I wasn't sure what the actual words were. I've now looked them up and written them down, so now I know for sure. It is, you fall in love, then you fall out of love. That's the 7-year itch part, that people get, that sort of why are things not going right, and we're going to talk about that in a second. And then you push through that, if you push through that, or obviously sometimes it'll break you up, and it depends on whether you work at it, whether you want to work at it, and all that kind of stuff. But there's that falling out stage where it's like, is this going to survive? And then once you get through that, you push through that, and then you get to the point of being in love, and you actually have this whole kind of growing life together kind of thing going on. And it's the same with businesses. I've noticed that as well. You start your business, it's all fantastic the minute, you love everything about it, it's very exciting, and then you get into the nitty-gritty of actually getting the stuff working, expanding, growing, and it becomes a bit difficult, and you either give up the business or you push on through, and then eventually you get to the point of loving your business again, because you go back to the stuff that you love. And you outsource all the stuff you don't love, basically. Slightly different in a relationship, of course, but you still need to work through that difficult patch to push through to the other side where you can start being in love. And from the book today, the Loveability book, it's in the link in the descriptions here, he talked about 2 questions you can ask yourself, and this is interesting if you listen to these. Find yourself feeling whether you agree with both of these or not, or one of these or whatever. It's easier to love others than it is to love yourself. It's easier to love others than it is to love yourself. I think most of us would probably agree with that one. However, when you think about question 2, it becomes a little bit more confusing, because the more you love yourself, the easier it is to love others. Now that sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? Because if it's easier to love others than it is to love yourself, how is it the more you love yourself, the easier it becomes to love others? Now, it's not actually a contradiction if you think about it, because it is easier to love other people, but whether or not you're actually loving them in the right way is a different matter. And then, of course, the more you start to love yourself, the easier it then becomes to love other people as well. So it kind of becomes a little sort of circular thing moving forward. And that's kind of cool. And it helps you to win the game of love, winning at love, start winning at love, which is to understand love and understand how it works, understand your reactions with other people, understand your relationship with yourself, and therefore understand your relationship with the people around you. This is exactly what I teach. I have flip-flop between doing relationship coaching and individual coaching, but actually it turns out that relationship coaching is all part of understanding who you are yourself. So I help people to understand themselves and understand their relationship with themselves better, so that then they can go on to have a better relationship with the people around them. And that's not just romantic love, that is business love, business relationships, friendships, other relationships like that, so they can understand why other people react the way they react. So then we come on to this whole concept of perception is projection, of course. So this is how you love yourself then reflects on how you love other people, and you see the world through this this filter, your own filter, which is kind of cool. Hello Haley, how are you doing? Happy to see you on here. Hello. Over there, live over there somewhere. Oh no, is that again? I mix this up, don't I? Every time. There's a Haley who lives here in Cirencester, and there's a Haley who lives in Cheltenham, and I can keep mixing the two of you up. And I must check on your surnames. Which Haley are you, Haley? Please tell me. That might help me remember it in the future. Right. So so somebody yesterday said, "How do I deal with haters in my comments on Facebook?" And I said, I always come from a place of compassion. I always look at somebody's fighting a battle that you know nothing about, and often when they're being nasty in a Facebook post, they are projecting onto you the pain and the suffering that they're feeling themselves. Works in life as well, so it's not just in the comments on Facebook, but if somebody is being nasty or mean to you, they are almost certainly projecting onto you the pain and the suffering that they're feeling inside themselves. And if you can think more compassionately about them and your reaction to them, then maybe you can understand their feelings. And this comes back again to understanding your own relationship with yourself. So how did you become the person you are? When you're mean or nasty to somebody else, your reaction to other people is a reflection of how you feel about yourself and how you feel internally. Quite often, not always obviously, but quite often. So it's always a kind of a cool thing. It's like to say, I'm sorry you feel that way. What is it what's the source of your pain? Yeah, that kind of thing, as opposed to it being me being the source of your pain. So, and then we get on to a thing that Lewis Howes said in his top 10. I think it was Lewis Howes in the top 10 anyway. Yes, it was, definitely, I think. I think. It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Link in the description, anyway. And he was saying he always came from a background of wanting to win, and everybody else had to lose. But of course, what he discovered then was that the more that he won and made other people lose, the more he found himself isolated on an island by himself, finding himself alone. And then what he realised was, of course, if I can help the other person win, or at least feel better, because in sports and stuff, you can't, it's winners and losers. You're there, so there is a winner, there's a loser. But what you can do is you can be honourable in. So I was going to say honourable in defeat there, but we can be honourable in defeat as well. But honourable in winning as well, in victory. Honourable in victory. That's what I was going to say. So you can say to the other person, sorry you didn't win. Maybe here's some ideas as to how you could be better next time, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Depends on the circumstances and the situation, I guess. But it's kind of cool to think, again, how can I help the other person feel better about the fact that they lost? And it's not necessarily that they lost. It's just that you did better. You were more advantageous. You were a little bit luckier, maybe. You had better skills. You trained harder. Who knows what the reasons are? But it's not a good idea to make the other person feel bad for having lost. That's not helpful for anybody, and it ends up making you stand on an island by yourself, alone, because you're pushing people away from you, and it's not helpful. And this works in love as well. So if you have to win the argument, then you're isolating yourself from the other person. You don't want to win the argument. You want to work together so that you can become mutually beneficial of that conversation, that argument, that discussion that you're having, so that you can improve your relationship and build that relationship, get through that falling out of stage, because if you're arguing, that's probably where you are. You're probably at that falling out of love stage, and it's whether or not you want to push through to being in love at the other side, going into the blissful rest of your life kind of thing going on, if you want to find it. So that's kind of cool. And then this all comes down to, just how tying it all together, about responsibility. Which is kind of cool because this comes from the Evan Carmicheal Ent-spresso thing down below. Oh, by the way, before I forget, the book of the day today is all about funguses and mushrooms and mycelium. Very cool, very interesting, very lots of stuff you wouldn't know about the world of mushrooms and fungi. So Blinkist book of the day, link in description. So he was talking about responsibility. So it's your ability to respond that makes the difference. If you're taking responsibility for something, taking ownership of something, but accountability. So that's the or. Remember, we've spoken before about rowing to have a successful life. You take ownership, accountability, and responsibility. And responsibility is all about your ability to respond to the other situation. So it's how are you responding to the situation. Comes back to a very famous quote I use all the time, which is Jack Sparrow. The problem is not the problem. The problem is how you react to the problem. I think I've paraphrased him slightly there, but that's essentially it. It's like you've got a problem. How are you reacting to the problem? That's the real problem. Is how are you reacting to it? Somebody's given you hate in the comments. How are you reacting to that person giving you hate in the comment? Are you acting with compassion and love, or are you going to fire back hate? We've talked about Aikido, verbal Aikido before. Are you rolling with the punches, or are you blocking the punches like karate? Are you fighting, or are you going with the flow and relaxing and being easygoing and so forth? And of course, if you're doing the ownership, accountability and responsibility, then you're no longer using blame, excuses and denial, which is the bed at the bottom. So bed, or and bed. So you or, you can row your life, or you want to stay in bed. Blame, excuses and denial. Now, this is what I was going to start off at the beginning of, which was I wasn't here yesterday, if you didn't notice. I didn't do my little 10 minutes-ish, we're up to 12 minutes already on here, talk yesterday. And the reason for that is I stayed up a little bit late the night before, can't remember which night that was now, and then I used that as an excuse to turn all my alarms off from sort of 6:30 onwards in the morning. I just said, no, I'm gonna need a bit more sleep, so I'm going to turn all those alarms off. And then I stayed in bed for a little bit longer, and then I started denying the fact that I was hadn't taken responsibility myself. So I was denying the fact that the staying in bed thing was causing me problems later on in the day. Then my day ran on, and then I get involved in other things, and I never really got on with my day yesterday. It was just one thing after another, and I also felt like I didn't set myself up very well. So I didn't do my morning routine, didn't do all the nice stuff, didn't do talking to you guys, which always lifts me up and makes me feel good. Didn't get out of the house to get the fresh air, didn't do the exercise, and it just had a knock-on effect on my whole day. And that was just me not taking responsibility for my own actions. I did actually start to feel a little bit ill during the day as well, and then I started saying, oh well, you see, I'm obviously ill. I'm now thinking to myself, I wonder if I felt ill as a psychosomatic reaction to an excuse for not taking action, and I was using it as an excuse for not taking action. Quite possibly. I think that's entirely possible. So anyway, yeah, so that was my story of yesterday, which I thought was really relevant to today because I was not taking responsibility for my own actions. It had a knock-on effect on my day. Living proof of the stuff that I teach, and that was a very good example of me not taking responsibility to go to bed earlier the night before, and then using that as an excuse to turn off my alarms in the morning, and then blaming the fact that I hadn't set the alarms in the morning and blaming myself for not getting out of bed, and then denying the fact that I'd even ruined my day by not doing all these stuff. So it's just a classic example of how taking responsibility is really important, and this works in all areas of our lives. So there you go. That's my lesson for the day. Hope you've had a lovely day today, and I hope you go on to have a lovely day today. So sending you all love, sending love out to the world. Go tell somebody you love them today, and be compassionate to everyone around you. They're all fighting a battle you know nothing about. Bye for now.